Hello, my name's Gilbert and I'm going to tell you about a study I carried out earlier this year, supervised by Dr. Brian McCann, which investigated the antecedents, processes and outcomes of self-efficacy during a tennis match. Albert Bandura defines self-efficacy as the belief in one's ability to reach the outcome of a task successfully. Some researchers have since argued that self-efficacy is the most significant psychological state to influence sporting achievement. Within sport, the sources of self-efficacy have been widely studied, with research suggesting that past performance accomplishments is the salient source. Self-efficacy has also been shown to influence a number of behaviours and thought patterns, such as choice, motivation, goal setting and anxiety. However, much of the research has relied on pre- and post-performance measurements and experimental research designs, which means that both our understanding of self-efficacy in a real-world context and what is happening during actual sporting competition is still limited. To counteract these limitations, I sought to further our understanding by using a mixed methods case study design of a singles tennis match. The study participants were experienced club-level standard male tennis players who had played against each other many times previously and who had recently filmed one of these matches. Both participants were asked to individually watch the match back and during the change of end intervals, record what they recalled their self-efficacy was on a scale of 0 to 10 of winning the match and to note a brief summary of their thoughts at that moment in the match. I also watched the video recording, noting behavioural observations and recording key performance outcomes to support follow-up participant interviews and to provide overall context to the study. The participants were interviewed individually online using an interview guide which was informed by the previous literature on self-efficacy, the observed behaviours and on the participant self-efficacy responses. The match was won by player 2 by a score of 6-2, 7-5. Both players cited their recent form and previous matches against each other as the primary source of self-efficacy ahead of the match. However, the player's self-efficacy changed considerably during the match itself. Typically, but not always, recent positive performance outcomes had a positive effect on self-efficacy, whilst negative performance outcomes had a negative effect. There were two notable exceptions to this trend, however. Despite losing the first set, player 1's self-efficacy rose significantly at the start of the second set, which he subsequently explained was due to a habit of performing better in second sets of matches. Additionally, player 2 experienced a large dip in efficacy before attempting to serve out the match, despite not losing any of his previous service games. Player 2 explained this loss of efficacy was due to recalling losing from similar positions in the past. The participant interview responses suggested that greater efficacy resulted in a feeling of control, leading to more challenging goal choices, greater enjoyment, less anxiety, and allowing them to play a more attacking game style. The score of the match also impacted self-efficacy related behaviours and thought patterns. When the scoreboard was close, the participants had increased effort and focus, but it also led to increased anxiety. When there was a large disparity in the score, this led to high and low extremities of self-efficacy, with neither state being perceived as conducive to positive outcomes. Consistent with the previous research, performance accomplishments were a primary source of efficacious beliefs. However, rather than their playing experience acting as a stable source of efficacy, as previous research would have us expect, the results showed that self-efficacy was highly changeable during the match and most predominantly related to performance outcomes in the match itself. Focusing on the score had a big impact on behaviours and thought patterns related to self-efficacy. The findings may suggest that scoreboard focus in close matches can be conducive for performance if strategies are implemented to reduce anxiety. But when in a significant leading or losing position, players should attempt to block out the score. A strength of the study was the rich and deep insights into self-efficacy within a real-world sporting context, which has highlighted the sensitivity of efficacy even in experienced competitors. There are some limitations, however. Due to COVID-19 restrictions, all participant responses were taken post-performance, which may have led to bias and recall issues impacting these responses, whilst generalisations from the results cannot be made from a single case study. To conclude, the findings that self-efficacy was extremely sensitive in experienced tennis players provides further support that the construct should only be studied using within group studies and is worthy of further investigation in larger case study designs.